I'm gonna play you something.
No, kill Rob. I watched him do it. He'd kill me too if I wasn't his blood.
Who sent you that?
Does it matter?
How long have you had it?
Not long.
Then why you ain't tell me sooner?
I came to you as soon as I got it.
Bari might not make it out of this season alive, and honestly, after watching episode 4, I think even he knows it. Everyone around him has already warned him. His sister, his boss, his girlfriend, even his own gut feeling has been screaming at him to stop. But he didn't listen. And now, in episode 5, titled Dead of Winter, the streets are about to close in on him from every single direction. Reg is making moves that could destroy what's left of his life. Len is done forgiving him, and the people who actually hate him the most are still out there waiting. So today, we're breaking down exactly what's coming in Dead of Winter, and why I genuinely believe this might be the episode where everything falls apart for Bari. Let's start with the title itself, because Dead of Winter is not just a random name, it's a warning. Every time this show drops a title like that, something brutal follows. The cold isn't just weather here, it represents how distant and dangerous everyone has become with each other. And right in the middle of that coldness is Reg, a man who came back from the dead and somehow brought even more chaos with him than before. According to the synopsis, Reg makes a cold-hearted move for a quick payday in this episode. Now think about that for a second. This is a man who already has blood on his hands, who already destroyed his own brother's peace of mind, and he's still chasing money like nothing else matters. Jake gave him chance after chance to change, to actually be the brother he lost and got back. But Reg doesn't want redemption. He wants power, and power means money. So when the synopsis says he's making a cold-hearted move for a payday, I don't think this is some small side hustle. I think this is something big enough to put even more people in danger, possibly including Bari himself, since Bari has been circling around Reg's world for a while now. And that's exactly what makes this so dangerous for Bari. He's not just dealing with Rafi and Nook hating him anymore. He's now stuck in the middle of whatever twisted plan Reg is cooking up. If Reg needs someone disposable for this payday, someone who already has nothing left to lose, Bari fits that description perfectly. He's already lost his place at home. He's already lost Len's trust. The only thing he has left is the streets, and the streets are exactly where Reg operates. So when Jake finally stands up to Reg in this episode, I don't think it's just about family anymore. I think Jake is going to realize that Reg's recklessness is now putting other people's lives at risk too, including people Jake actually cares about. We saw Jake pull a gun on Reg earlier this season, but I don't think that's the direction this confrontation goes again. This time, I expect something quieter but way more devastating. A conversation where Jake finally says out loud everything he's been holding back. How Reg's return didn't bring him joy anymore, only exhaustion. How every single day Reg stays in this town, someone else gets hurt because of it. And the scariest part is, I don't think Reg is going to care. He's heard this before. He's been warned before. And yet he keeps choosing money and power over his own brother's peace. That tells you everything about where his mindset is right now. Meanwhile, Bari is stepping into episode 5 already broken. Len kicked him out in episode 4, and now, according to the synopsis, he's the one trying to fix things with her. But here's what worries me. Apologies don't erase warnings. Len didn't kick him out over one mistake. She kicked him out because she watched him choose the streets over and over again, even after everyone told him where that road leads. So when he comes back trying to soften her cold shoulder, I don't think she's going to fall for words alone. She's going to want proof, real change, something Bari has never actually shown anyone in this entire season. And if he can't give her that, this might be the moment she finally lets him go for good. But honestly, forgiveness from Len might be the least of his problems right now. Because while he's busy trying to repair his relationship, Reg is out there making moves that could pull Bari deeper into danger without him even realizing it. So here's the real question. What happens if Reg's cold-hearted payday move directly involves Bari? What if the very person Bari has been trying to distance himself from ends up being the reason he can't escape the streets at all? Now let's shift to Len, because her storyline this episode is just as important as Bari's, even though it might seem smaller on the surface. Bari reaching out to soften her cold shoulder sounds simple, but nothing about their relationship has been simple this season. Len has spent months watching Bari make promise after promise, only to break every single one of them the moment the streets called him back. She didn't kick him out because of one bad night. She kicked him out because she finally understood that words mean nothing if his actions never change. So when he comes to her in episode 5 trying to fix things, I don't think this is going to be some easy reconciliation. I think this is going to be one of the most tense conversations of the entire season, because Len isn't speaking out of anger anymore. She's speaking out of exhaustion. She's tired of hoping. She's tired of waiting for a version of Bari that keeps slipping further away. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous for him, because if he can't convince her this time, he might lose her for good. And losing Len could be the final push that sends him completely into Reg's world with nothing left to hold him back. At the same time, Kenya and Len are dealing with something far bigger than Bari's personal mess. They already have Zay's voice memo, the one piece of evidence that could expose exactly what Nook has been hiding. And I don't think they're going to sit quietly with that information for long. Going into episode 5, I expect Kenya and Len to start digging even deeper, trying to build a case strong enough that Tiff can't ignore it anymore. This is where things get really interesting, because Tiff isn't the same person she was earlier in the series. She's no longer reckless. She's no longer driven purely by emotion. After everything she's survived, she's learned to think before she acts, and that makes her far more dangerous than before. If Kenya and Len come to her with solid proof about Nook, I believe she's finally going to stop ignoring the doubts she already has. She's already shown signs that something feels wrong with him, the way she watches him a little too closely, the way she hesitates before fully trusting his words. Once she has real evidence, that hesitation could turn into something much colder, much more calculated. And this is where the show could take its biggest turn yet. What if Tiff doesn't go straight to Nook in anger? What if instead she decides to play the long game, gathering more information, watching his every move, waiting for the perfect moment to take everything from him instead of just confronting him directly? That kind of patience would completely change how dangerous she becomes, because a woman who used to act on impulse, choosing to wait and plan, means she's thinking several steps ahead now. And there's another twist that makes this even messier. Reg and Nook are already enemies. If Tiff ends up needing information that only someone inside Nook's world could give her, Reg becomes a strange but logical option. Not because she trusts him, not even a little, but because sometimes the person who hates your enemy the most becomes useful, even if you don't actually like them. Imagine Tiff and Reg in the same room, both wanting Nook gone for completely different reasons. That alliance wouldn't be built on trust. It would be built purely on convenience, and those kinds of partnerships tend to explode the moment they're no longer needed. So here's what worries me the most heading into dead of winter. With Len demanding real change from Bari, with Kenya and Len building a case against Nook, and with Tiff possibly inching closer to a temporary truce with Reg, everything in this episode feels like it's building toward one massive collision. None of these storylines exist separately anymore. They're all connected through Reg, through Nook, and through the choices Bari keeps making that pull him further into both their worlds. So the real question becomes this. When Tiff finally makes her move against Nook, will Bari already be standing in the middle of that storm without even realizing it? And will Len's last attempt to save him come too late to matter at all? This brings us to the moment everyone's been waiting for, Jake finally standing up to Reg. After everything that's happened this season, after every excuse Jake made for his brother, after every chance he gave him to change, this is the episode where I believe Jake stops protecting Reg and starts protecting everyone else instead. Think about how far this has come. When Reg first returned, Jake was overwhelmed with relief. His brother was alive. The person he thought he'd lost forever was standing right in front of him again. But relief doesn't last forever, especially when the person who came back isn't the same person who left. Reg didn't come back wanting peace. He came back wanting power. And every decision he's made since then has proven that money matters more to him than the brother who never gave up on him. Now, with Reg making this cold-hearted move for a quick payday, I think Jake finally reaches his breaking point. This isn't just about Reg embarrassing himself anymore. This is about Reg putting other people in danger, possibly even people connected to Bari, possibly even people Jake has grown to care about through everything that's happened this season. And that changes everything for Jake, because this is no longer a private family problem. It's becoming something that affects the entire community around them. We already saw Jake pull a gun on Reg earlier this season, so the show has already proven it's willing to push these two brothers to extremes. But I don't think violence is where this confrontation goes this time. I think this moment is going to hit harder specifically because it isn't physical. I can already picture Jake standing in front of Reg, finally saying everything he's been swallowing for months, how he used to dream about his brother coming home, how he used to imagine they'd rebuild their lives together. and how none of that exists anymore because Reg chose money over family every single time he had the choice. And the most painful part is, I don't think Reg even flinches. I think he's heard this kind of speech before, maybe from their parents, maybe from people in his past who tried to save him long before Jake ever got the chance. Reg has built a version of himself that doesn't care what anyone thinks anymore, not even his own brother. And that emotional distance is honestly scarier than any gun he could pull. So now picture how all three storylines collide in Dead of Winter. Jake is finally cutting Reg loose emotionally, even if he doesn't say those exact words. Len is demanding Bari prove himself instead of just apologizing, and Tiff is quietly building a case against Nook, possibly with help from the very people closest to Reg's chaos. Bari sits right in the middle of all of it, with Raffi and Nook already against him, with Reg's loyalty becoming more unstable by the day, and now with Reg's new cold-hearted payday move threatening to pull innocent people into danger. If Bari is anywhere near that operation, even by accident, he could become collateral damage in a war that was never really his to fight. And that's what makes this episode title hit so much harder once you think about it. Dead of Winter doesn't just describe the cold weather setting the mood for this episode. It feels like a warning about who might not survive once everything is said and done. So here's what I want you to think about until the episode actually airs. If Jake finally lets go of Reg, who's left to protect Bari from the chaos Reg is creating? If Len's last attempt to reach Bari fails, does he have anything left to fight for? And if Tiff's plan against Nook moves forward while Reg is making dangerous moves of his own, could Bari end up trapped between two wars that have nothing to do with him personally, yet could still cost him everything? Drop your predictions below and let me know who you think won't make it out of Dead of Winter alive.